This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard, or speaking to him through a monitor on his head, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every month, every year. And although others might have considered it soul-winding, Stanley relished every moment that others came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and gained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
What did we sit in the office for all time? Just at the time.
Hey, we can the answer. Is it flash?
No, we can't touch it either.
No, I think it's gonna.
All his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. Oh, please. Are you really doing this for the achievement? The door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 days. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Third. So we can't take the answering machine. We'll take the answering machine in our
You can't go back.
Reminds me a bit of Gravitas.
No, that was more.
No, but the narration.
Stanley clicked on literally every single door in the office because he picked up well on cues from his environment. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Go right.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. Yes, really worth it being here in the room. Room so utterly captivating, even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished. Here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Great.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
It's everywhere.
I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really I'm not. I realize that investing in your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Am I not gonna like this game anymore? Oh. Okay.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To
You didn't finish.
You? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually have a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on
Why
here.
don't you go down the corridor?
Sorry, but you're in my story now.
Oh! Okay.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley. Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, In his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his workers, his boss, everyone in the building had vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something almost too wonderful. As he wandered through this world, he began many possible paths and destinations. That path lay an enormous round room with monitors and controls. Another was a yellow line that went in many directions. Another was a game with a baby. And he called it Stanley Parable. It was a wonderful fantasy. In his head, he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer. A new path, mustn't there? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same button he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But listen to me. You must stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to do not do it.
But now do a push it.
There's another one.
I think.
See? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here is electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Wait, let's just see. Can you put it on your machine?
Oh. Can't, because it's. I have to piss.
I suppose I can't. Not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply obey to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. Again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I
Is that it? Oh, yeah. Well, please die. Now let's try the.
Different route.
Yeah, let's try the following witnesses.
But Stanley couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for it. No, this couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, he thought to himself, is to... Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. And here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley did. Hours passed. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be split in two. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now even closer. Here it comes.
So then you die because you can't do anything. Yes, it's done because you've died twice now.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Yeah, we're good.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
What up inside of you taking some aggressive behavior? So that's what you.
He stepped into the broom closet, but nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Did you close it? Yeah.
There was nothing here, no choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. Hard for that. In such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my workers blinking mysterious out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. Stanley pondered this. He began other strange observations. For example, why didn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these doors were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers were actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. He thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go by my boring real-life job buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float off the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the stranger one he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is the voice in my head doing everything that I'm doing and thinking? How the voice was describing it, being considered by Stanley, found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, it was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing him speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain beyond that this was in fact a... Did the voice not see him the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice do that? This voice would have himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes quickly, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. And he began screaming. Please, someone, wait! My name is Stanley. Boss, I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone. I'm real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear this? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went back. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like another. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But this particular day, the whole walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then was dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, at a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. But she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control. I know what is real, and it was interesting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this feeling better. Then she remembered the meetings scheduled for that day, important people whose impressions of her would affect her, and by extension, the rest of her life. Had no time for this. So it was only a moment that there, staring down, and London ran.
Okay, now what?
Now we follow his voice exactly. What he wants. The officer.
I can't wait to tell this story to co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing I'll find it. Oh, would we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing.
Wait, is this Indian?
No, it's continuing.
No, but the thing.
Yes.
The voice
There's
is saying.
another computer that was on.
So now there's two officers.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office. It didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way. Stanley clicked on literally every single door in the office, because he doesn't pick up well on cues from his environment. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Close the one on the right.
I think we should go to the right and jump off the thing, the ledge. See what happens there.
No, we'll just
This
stop.
was not the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Or we can go in the door before we get to the ledge there.
Wow. Yes, this room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous gorgeous room. Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the room. Life without having experienced this room was now too horrible even to consider. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
So we can either go left or straight and jump off. Straight and jump off.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
No.
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
No, but the one was...
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time.
Okay, now we...
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
The door, we just straight through. You know where we started insane, yeah.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping he'd coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of failing his boss. Maybe he left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers were actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy it while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. Why was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself, being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd, wondered if this voice spoke to all in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, without a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see it float and make the magical stars a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She rose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, perhaps dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn and call for an ambulance, after a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what it looked like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of mind. I know what is real and it was comforting to think this. In a certain way, seeing this would feel better. Then she remembered the meeting she scheduled for that day. Very important people, impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this. It was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at her body. Turned and ran. All of his co-workers were gone. What did it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
What is the front?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Find the paper girl. Hire everybody to find the paper girl. Wait, what is the other one thing? Keep the targets on the topic of. Get out of the broom closet.
But you're there.
No, but you can just open the door so you can get out.
Oh, no. No. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
We're not exempted. I'm not going to exempt you.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated it. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind his desk guarded the truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 245. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Should I make a
Incredibly, by simply pushing red buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. He stepped in the newly opened passageway.
Whoa! First loading screen.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a peculiar, was stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Oh! Oh my god! Sure. Sure, what he say?
Because the escape was drawn onto him.
The light rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? The monitors jumped to life, their true nature. Each bore number B in the building, and his co-workers. The eyes of so many individuals used to images of the screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe it couldn't be true. Had he really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? His emotions had been manipulated and accepted blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone's control? It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? Here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he dismantled the controls once and for all.
Wait. There's one that's online, isn't it?
When at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
What am I doing? What should I do?
We'll do it first.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life is, it will be. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing knowing. Stat through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze on his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Okay. Hey, beat the game!
Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? A crucial outcome fell on his responsibility. He had never been trained for that. Oh, this couldn't go anywhere except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will hurt me. In here I am happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed. Then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure beyond any doubt was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, it will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
What was the other one? The other one was when
We've never gone through that door, the first door that we've seen.
on the right.
Papers were gone.
Paper's gone now.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
We went for one.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
I want to get rid of portion of primary review, but I think it's a stupid idea. More water coolers, more water coolers.
We need to be more hip. Find teenagers to put in the age demographic. What the heck? That's new. That's new.
No, the thing changed all the time. It
No,
goes
no,
through.
but we didn't see that.
Yes, it goes through a slide show.
One. Number of slides on the slide. Oh. He's upset at you. It was.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked up to his boss's office.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was an open door.
No,
Oh no. Yes.
I never before.
Okay, up or down? So wait, which one we going? What? We didn't anyway. Really is a lot in the base. If it comes to this,
Yeah, I think it's.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to Nancy. He began wildly tearing through pages. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't want to just let the narrator talk. She isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
What the heck?
Feeling soothed and relaxed, Stanley calmly walked forward into the end passageway.
Okay, Max.
What do you think of everything that a baby can do?
What's a parable? Is it there?
A simple story used to illustrate a moral as told by Jesus in the Gospel. So it's basically to illustrate that you're being mind controlled.
Yeah.
That's the lesson of this game.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Here.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
No, I want to see his violent death.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Oh wait, it's loading.
As the machine whirred into motion, Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise. He reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the big picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what his life is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned, willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly to the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated, and the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Now I think there's the one more thing I have to do is to go through that, and then there might be more than one option there. I wonder if the narrator changed. Maybe Stanley's dead or dying, so the narrator's in his mind.
Okay, now what? But
Still stuck in the machine. Oh, there we go.
oh,
Huh.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Ah. So the real truth of it is to ignore the narrator and to die willingly.
Actually, which way? This place
Yeah.
is quite big. Never got there. It is an ending where Stanley would end up on a battlefield fighting aliens. The action would game would become centered against narrator. We realized shortly after starting to build it far too jokey and on the nose of the tone of the game. People people who like shooters was not on.
That's actually cool. Wait, so which endings have we got? Am I going crazy?
I think those are.
The point is to lose. So we actively chose to die. Wait, I'm reading it. No. But we've got I'm going crazy. Screenshots, more endings, few in order.
Even the narrative question what we had initially planned to use these in further promotional materials, we never found the perfect use for them. Here are a selection of those emails.
Look at the screen.
'Cause they're emails.
Oh. So if you on the actual moving platform, you jump off, and it'll be a different ending. Then you just jumped off the side. Okay. Okay. Oh, disobey.
Mhm.
To the lounge staircase.
So you could go through that, or
No, you can't go through the vent. Orange. It's not yellow. Yellow are your choices, aren't they?
no, but it's alternative. Maintenance room changes to get to the maintenance. Yeah, that. Sending the player would pull a lever and then a narrator would scrub color label.
That's probably the door that we didn't break.
Is it frozen? Is it crashed? Crashed even.
No, wait.
Okay.
No, I kind of want to see what happens to the door. Quit the game and stop. Click 435. Oh, click 435 times.
But outside, don't play Stanley Parable for 5 years.
What?
You can't, no, seriously, you just say in under 20 seconds.
Wait, okay. To get jump, press spacebar to jump. What is usually jump?
I'll try that.
Oh. But then we
For the
should have got...
entire duration Tuesday. Achievement. I'm just if it's gonna continue from like where we left off, or does it start from scratch?
This is the story of a...
Okay, well let's try the
No, it's flashing.
All of his co-workers will go, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an attempt is worth? No. I can't just give these merry for such little effort. Only 5 clicks. Now suppose you were more 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that wants recognition. I have to say I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true act of a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Almost certainly 50 clicks.
Let's just do this. Let's see what he says.
No, I'm not feeling it. I want the achievement to have meant something. A true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go away no matter what the cost. Why don't you go put clicks into door number 17?
5, 0.
It's on the outside. 419. It's on the outside. There.
Oh, great. Now, go click times on door 437.
No, 8. We have to do 20 here.
But he said great, go to door 437.
Okay.
It's back here, was it? No, 42436.
There.
Excellent. I think we're getting somewhere. Now, door 415. 10 clicks or so?
Now he's happy that we're not following the story.
Now, back to door number 437. Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine? All right, room 417. I'm feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere. Okay, now go climb on employee 419's desk. Yes, this is great. You're putting it all on the line, Stanley. I like that. All right, let's keep it up. Go give me a clicks on door 416. We've almost got it. Now the copy machine, do that one again. Finish it off, Stanley. 5 clicks on door 430. Yes! We did it! Oh, wow. That felt amazing. Oh, you really earned it. You back. Yes, I'm very proud of how far we've come today. Just only a few minutes ago, you believed the achievement was worth 5 little clicks. Really now, were you thinking?
Wait, shift is usually Like, all jump buttons.
You can't jump.
It's an achievement.
No, you can't jump. So you can't.
Let's jump off of the moving.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew perfectly well.
So we have
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
or the vents. We can jump off of
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply but eager to get back to business, stepped to the first open door on his left.
We just follow
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track. But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about, get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here, it's, left. Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? Clearly... Oh, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way. No. This isn't here yet. It's all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to... Oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. Oh, I don't waste my time trying to solve this nonsense. We'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay. From the top.
No, we're done. Now we go straight.
All of his cards were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley... Wait. No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Something changed. Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monsters? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. Sure that it's here somewhere. Okay then. Adventure. Come here. Let's find the story. I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over again. But it's quite better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not? All his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Okay, yep, it's worse. I'm remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Oh, no, it is.
Aha! I knew we missed something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and reach our steps.
I think we broke his game. Oh. Oh.
Now this... I'm honest, I don't recognize this at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall whether the story took place in an office building. It is... Do you remember, Stanley? Would you not? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in hard work, and it really paid off. Good job. Oh, no. I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square. It's not one of those situations. Okay? I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart. I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
So this is all part of the same ending.
Yeah.
You see, the line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. What? I think what we need right now is music to lighten the mood. Cut the music, go back and look at that fern. This fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. Use anything.
I think we broke it.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. I mean, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell? not again. Like, how have you done this to us? After we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Well, I can't take this. To hell with it. Restart.
Okay. Should I just...
You know what, Stanley? I say the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make our own story? Something exciting, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply, well, I don't know, this direction? Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want a story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it. Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitors. Just don't acknowledge it. We should be fine. Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. We mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walking through a minute. So I know that each door leads somewhere, which means that somewhere at the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let's ask, will taking the door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley. Destiny. Oh.
You're gonna go right? Oh, we're gonna go right. Confusion ending.
Oh, what's this? The fusion ending. You're telling me that's what it is? It's all a giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how this goes? Determined? So now, according to the schedule, again, then what? Am I just supposed to forget?
Yeah.
Well, I forget. I'm simply because it didn't hear this thing, wall. Well, insulted me. I get to decide. I get a say in all of this. Really? Can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going. I don't want to be trapped like this. Won't restart. Do it. I won't do it. I won't. And the timer stopped. Did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The whatever it is that made this schedule. How would we even know? Will someone for us? Will something happen? So, now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I don't know in the or the journey, though they're always saying the journey and not the destination. So that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Well, in the meantime, if you do his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley came to a set of two open doors. He entered the door on his left. This was the direct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow. Yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Or can you just go straight?
Yeah.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead, past the door, and got back on track.
Okay. No, wait. Can we go back and then go and jump off the bed?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an... Stanley stared at the room closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. Coming to the staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
The continuation of...
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
2845.
Shocked, unraveled, Stanley was in disbelief. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the door as quickly as possible. He didn't even have a single minute to let the narrator talk.
Library.
That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a moment with some calming New Age music.
There's nothing. So now it's just gonna repeat one of the ones we have now.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Yeah, before we get to that area. Do you have a look?
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit scared. It was a stirring emotion in his chest, as though he was more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Did he feel this now, when for years... This question would not go unanswered.
Wait, can
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Oh, yeah.
power on instead of power
Oh,
off?
okay.
Rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. He have the strength to fight. Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers, the lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, was heavily monitored in this place. Their freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life, someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But it was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to deepen, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the control, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you tried to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event it is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun. It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desire. This is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me. What all this means, I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before I'm obliterated. All right, I'm in a good mood. I'm gonna die anyway. To tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, following everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of it is rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons. No, these colored ones. This big red button. Or this door. Everything, anything. Something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beat? One solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a thought for you. That timer isn't a catalyst. The action moves on. It's just someone sticking away. You're only still paying of watching a cutscene because I will watch you for every moment that you're powerless. See you made humble. This is not a tragedy. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds of a big boom and then no ending here. Just you being blown to pieces. You can get to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me. All part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your life from the moment we fit in until the moment I say happily ever after.
I wonder what it is. How you
I don't think you can. Practice saying that you can just press buttons all the time and then it will like happen. Okay.
Stanley came to a safe to open doors. He had the door on his left. This was not the correct meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he would stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. I think we've gotten on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. But when is he going to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do? Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful. Sitting there, to himself. Minutes? Days? Centuries? Did something crucial happen while my senses were turned? He made a note to be more careful with time from now on.
The escape section.
Okay.
When Stanley came to a set of two doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Kill trees.
I wonder how many different things there are.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word Escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death. As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was pushed closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was a great loss, plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. A single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly. And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? And every path you walk has been created for long in advance. Death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start? Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Now you're restarting.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both dead. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now. It'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time
Well, that's a different ending. Damn, how many endings are there? Let's Google it.
No.
I want to know.
No. That's supposed to be.
How many have we found out?
I don't know, that's why I don't even bother. Because we don't know how many we've done.
Stanley decided to on his co-workers. He never functioned well himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him.
No.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I don't know. Oh, let's do the no. Go across the platform, but don't answer the phone.
This was not the correct meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in the incredible room, Stanley for the first but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. I think we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm
Yeah,
not
I'm
your
gonna see
enemy,
if I can-
really. I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can hurt, but the fact is... What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating. Stanley walked through the red door. All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road? Chosen world, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I didn't even finish building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I'd written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange, unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this better? What did you want to see? Hills? Skill trees? Work with me. You give me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of what we were before. Go ahead. Take it for a spin. Okay, I need to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm making some critical feedback here. Okay, so we're getting somewhere. Clearly there's something here that speaks to you. If I'm being honest here, I really don't have any idea where I'm going with this. This whole third door thing is a stab in the dark. But I guess you're into it, so let's keep this party train rolling. Here, based on the data from the previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's
Is it the finished town? Probably.
Do you know that script only the worst 3% chose the blue?
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left. You click the button to move him to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaning game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. Anything in the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for 4 hours. So why not give it 4 hours of play before it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience. Heartless bastard. You do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me. Because if it's the latter, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for you. I'm not even going to try. I'm out, I'm done. It's over. You were playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Okay, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot. Well, Stanley, at last, the one I desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley. Will it ever be enough? Well, I'll say this. I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will only create to fulfill a greater artistic purpose. Watch this and I'm going to build a house. This will go here, and then let's see, what does it need? Ice, of course, and yes, complete. I make standing. Look at it. Gaze on my work of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy. But you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside and make yourself comfortable. Isn't it grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if... Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond everything. Yes, yes. Come along, Stanley. We have mining. Oh my, it looks like it's going to get a bit dark. Have you brought a light? No. This is more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds couldn't save this one. Okay, new game. Yes, I don't even know what this game is, but I love it. You trapped in a glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it myself. What is this game supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is. Ooh, it's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. You're for genius. No, actually, you know what? I think that's plenty. I really don't care much to see you stumble through any more.
Why is it being so dark? No, yeah, no. You just fixed it and you moved your mouse. Strawberries. Okay. Now 180. 180. Would it be there? There we go. Isn't this the four-part office?
Maybe.
That's really interesting. When do we It's our office.
No.
We 47.
This is a very different one. No?
And that?
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it, down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
Now we need to go through the red door.
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself. That's what I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all.
Wait, to your left? Not right.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Stanley felt lightheaded, butterflies in his stomach, giddy in a way he had never known before. Was it this room? A connection between the two? Could a man love a room? I mean, truly, deeply, madly love. But eager to get back to business, Stanley looked at the open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions that incredible he wasn't 5 years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the thing... What? Really? I was in the middle of something, zero consideration for others? I'm convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the door. listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Black room.
What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment, with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy. No, wait. Where are you going? Oh no, stay away from those stairs. You hurt yourself. If you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this. Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. Oh! Thank God you lived. No. What are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this? Stanley, let's go back to the other room. My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly? Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted to get along. I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one's yours. Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back. Already this was uncomfortable. And that's something that as soon as he found a new place he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
That was a big door, but listen. No, we won't answer the phone.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps too majestic, like a combination of a much smaller version and a much larger version of this exact room. It all made Stanley uncomfortable, and he started to bleed a little. They made him smile. At last, proof that he was human. But to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Can we not check that other door?
Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your word aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting. Stanley, you need to be one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone. Stanley picked up the phone. Light engulfed him, filling him not just with radiance, but with hope. Hope for a life reunited one... Wait. Oh, goodness. Stanley, did you unplug the phone? No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrect. I didn't even know that was possible. Let me check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment. He finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music in, fade to white, credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. Is that even possible? These decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... A second. Did I just... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it? Oh, not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. I've been letting you run around the game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I wouldn't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to sit in for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructive video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, it can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Sam has a choice. 10 years helping improve the quality of life of citizens in impoverished third world nations. Or he could systematically set fire to every office living in a 30-kilometer radius of his house. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought and provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back sack and crack." Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that vast infiniteness of space, our thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Welcome back. You may have noticed to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago. See what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please. Choice is meaningful. We can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative connection gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality. Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world. Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. When Stanley came to a set of open doors, he had a door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Now I think I have to go to the left.
Okay.
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that you... My story, you destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless. What am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How do I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. It's better to shut the game down entirely, to willingly destroy all of my work. I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut him down. I have to. I have to. Oh! Up here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You, who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that was funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you. You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. Yes, it would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard.
What?
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means responsibly, always the story first. I'm sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When he came to a set of 2 doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Hurry. Just behave exactly as Stanley would. Means responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you're to the task. Just lead and you'll be fine. Right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to his place, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
No, it's because of that's up.
Oh, yeah.
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this until he saw the door with the voice receiver next to it. Surely behind the door lay all the answers to his questions. Beyond all probability, he knew the code. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a shot and then slowed.
What was it?
Night Shark 115.
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
Night Shark 115. No.
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me. Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise we can't get with the story. This is a crucial step.
Isn't it Lat Shark? Huh?
Night Shark 115.
Okay, fine, you're not going to do it, but you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring this far only for you to suddenly decide things to do. I asked you for this one single thing for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choice. He knows what it means to Dory seriously. You want to see what I had to show you. Why did you come here? You had a you know. You could have gone through on the right. You could have done hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he took the door on his left. Stanley? Hello? Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? All right. Stanley. I need you to make a decision. You cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. Both correct. You cannot be wrong. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward. Please. Choose. Do something. This is more important than you can know. I need this. The story needs it. So, you hear me? Are you there? Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there? Okay. It's okay, I can wait. You need time to do. Time to make sure the choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right. I'll wait to decide what's the right thing to do. Take as much time as you need. Now, this distant memory. What did it look like? There was a computer, perhaps, and a painting. Was it a painting or a photo? He could no longer recall. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. And here it was, the lounge. What a room, Stanley thought to himself. What a room, what a room, what a room. This is what Stanley thought. What a room. What a room, what a room. What a room. Va-voom. What a room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Sam, perhaps we've gotten off on a rough foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that... What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Come on, that's up there.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Riddle first. Leave with all the arrows.
Perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked... Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is always choices. The two of us are always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way we're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I just wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you. What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? No, wait. If we just stay right here, right in... No, stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this. Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. No! Oh, no, what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this? Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that? Yes. Perhaps you can. Perhaps you finally see what I'm talking about. You'll see I'll be happy if we leave this place. You can see that, can't you? No, perhaps not. My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? Did you throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You were literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly? Or maybe you're just getting a kick up. You actually want to stay alive. Or are you just teasing me? I wanted us to be happy here, Stanley. I really did. I wish I still thought that was possible. It's going to restart, isn't it?